We will support the push for sustainability and personal responsibility based on data from various UN sources. The phrase climate change refers to long-term modifications to weather and temperature patterns. Such alterations might occur purely naturally as a result of changes in the sun's activity or significant volcanic eruptions. However, human activity has been the primary cause of climate change since the 1800s, primarily as a result of the burning of fossil fuels like coal, oil, and gas. The burning of fossil fuels releases greenhouse gas emissions that cover the planet like a blanket, trapping solar heat and raising temperatures. The main greenhouse gases causing climate change are methane and carbon dioxide. These happen when heating buildings with coal or fuel, respectively. During forest logging and land clearing, carbon dioxide can also be released. Agriculture and the production of oil and gas are the main sources of methane emissions. Among the leading contributors of greenhouse gases are energy, industry, transportation, buildings, agriculture, and land use. Human activity is to blame for global warming. Nearly all of the global warming that has occurred over the past 200 years has been attributed to humans, according to research on climate change. The Earth's surface temperature has risen by about 1.1 degrees Celsius on average since the late 1800s, prior to the Industrial Revolution, making this the warmest period in the planet's last 100,000 years. Increased temperatures, in the opinion of many, are climate change's main effect. But it's not until the temperature goes up that the story really gets going. Everything functions as a system, and since everything is connected, changes anywhere in the system can affect changes elsewhere. Extreme droughts, scarce water supplies, destructive fires, rising sea levels, flooding, melting of the polar ice, catastrophic storms, and a decline in biodiversity are just a few of the current effects of climate change. The impacts of climate change on people are diverse. Climate change may have an effect on how well we can grow food, keep our homes safe, and do our jobs. People who live in developing countries and on small islands are already more vulnerable to the effects of climate change than other people. Long-lasting droughts raise the possibility of famine, and environmental issues like sea level rise and saltwater intrusion have gotten so bad that entire communities have had to move. Future predictions predict a rise in the number of climate refugees. In numerous UN reports, thousands of scientists and government reviewers have supported the idea that limiting the rise in global temperature to 1.5 degrees Celsius would help us avoid the worst climate effects and maintain a livable climate. On the other hand, the planet's temperature will rise by 2.8 degrees Celsius by the end of the century if current policies are upheld. When the planet's temperature increases, it is noteworthy. The global emissions that contribute to climate change affect everyone, but some nations produce significantly more than others. To combat climate change, all parties involved must take action, but the nations that contribute the most and those that do so have a greater obligation to take the lead. Despite the significant challenge we face, there are many potential solutions. Many climate change solutions can improve our quality of life, protect the environment, and generate income. Additionally, global frameworks and agreements, such as the Sustainable Development Goals, the UN Framework Convention on Climate Change, and the Paris Agreement, to guide our progress. The three main areas of action are reducing emissions, preparing for the effects of climate change, and funding required adjustments. Adapting to climate change by safeguarding the environment, infrastructure, and people's homes, businesses, and livelihoods. Both the immediate and probably long-term effects are covered. All populations will need to adapt, but it is especially important to focus on helping those who are most at risk from climate hazards and have the fewest resources. There could be substantial advantages. For instance, early warning systems for disasters can save up to 10 times as many lives and properties' initial cost. Pay the bill now, or pay dearly down the road are our two choices. To address the climate crisis, businesses and governments must make significant financial investments. However, the price of inaction on climate change is much higher. Developed countries must honor their commitment to give developing countries the $100 billion per year agreed upon in order for them to adapt and make the transition to greener economies. Scientists have observed changes in the Earth's climate across all climate systems and regions, according to the most recent report from the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change, IPCC, which was made public in 2022 in Geneva. Many of the climatic changes that have been observed have not occurred in hundreds of thousands of years, and some changes that are already happening, like the sea level rise, that is still happening, can't be stopped over hundreds or thousands of years. The Working Group 1 report is the first chapter of the sixth assessment report, AR6, of the IPCC, which was completed in 2022. Together, we can make a difference by spreading the word, maintaining political pressure, modernizing our transportation infrastructure, reducing our energy consumption, adjusting our dietary habits, shopping locally and sustainably. Avoiding resource waste, being responsible enough, planting trees, and concentrating on investments that support the environment. In conclusion, further concepts will be hosted by Consumer Trading Organization Limited.